Lucy is the silliest thing to have ever been put on a movie screen. It is so silly. Released in 2014 by Luc Besson, Lucy is a movie that asks the question, what if Scarlett Johansson was able to use more than 10% of her brain? Now, she can. Because the idea that humans only use 10% of their brains is a complete myth, it's a schoolyard tale. Luc Besson could have Googled it. Making a movie where the logic is based on that would be like if they made a Philadelphia-esque drama about gum being stuck in someone's stomach for 7 years. But it's the fact that this movie takes such a massive swing at something so surface-level stupid that makes it perfect. And let me tell you how and why, by guiding us through this wonderful story and zooming in sporadically to beat copyright. We open in Taiwan for that sweet, sweet international box office, where we meet Lucy and this fusion of Chris Pratt and Howard Ratner, standing in front of a building. Chris Pratt has to deliver a strange suitcase inside this building. He wants Lucy to do it, and they argue about it for 3.5 minutes. Lucy does this.
Problem solved.
And then we witness a brilliant editing trick from Luc Besson. Now, how is this audience supposed to know Lucy's in danger? How are they supposed to know she's in a sticky situation? Well, show us this.
You flash him your prettiest smile and bounce. Look.
Wow, subtle. You've got to use most of your brain to understand that one. Did I mention this movie's 5% stock footage? I glossed over the real opening to this movie, which is Bubbles, Monkey, and stock footage of Taiwan. Long story short, Chris Pratt handcuffs her to the suitcase, he makes her go inside, she's displeased with this development, he gets shot, she gets taken upstairs, and if it was not clear to you she's in danger, we get this. Oh my god, Dora holds my hand less than this. Longer story short, let's get to the good stuff. Lucy goes upstairs, we meet our villain, who's honestly really cool looking. She talks to a guy on the phone to translate, and this...
You speak English or don't you speak English?
Is Scarlett Johansson really acting it up? Because this is the last time she's going to be allowed to act for the rest of the movie. So she opens the case, everyone's scared it's a bomb or something. Bad guy hides behind door looking all sexy. And in the case is...
4 plastic pouches filled with a blue powder, like maybe a purple powder.
No, that's blue. I can see that as well as you. And they demonstrate this blue or purple powder. You know, that's not even powder. That's crystal. That's like snow cone, if anything. And they demonstrate it by taking a sweaty white guy that they had stored in their closet, and they make him sniff a few. He finds it very funny. And so our bad guy shoots him. Okay, is that all he needed to know? Is it supposed to get you high for 15 seconds? Is he pissed it's not purple? Okay, anyways, here we go. Bad guy hits Lucy 1%. That is not my edit, that is Luke's. As the movie goes on, we'll be tracking what percent of Lucy's brain has been unlocked, and I don't know why it starts with 1%, which strongly implies she's only using 1% of her brain and is a huge big idiot. We transition to...
Approximately 1 billion years ago. We will have to wait 400,000...
Oh, I'm sorry, I must have put March of the Penguins on. Oh, no, this is still the movie. So here we see Morgan Freeman. And he is the key ingredient that makes this movie so bad it's good. Sure, you could suspend your disbelief and imagine the 10% thing is real. It's a sci-fi movie. But no, Luc Besson has recruited Morgan Freeman, one of the world's most trusted voices, who has played Nelson Mandela and God, to play a professor who is desperately trying to convince the audience that humans only do use 10% of their brains.
But it isn't until we reached human being that we finally see a species use more of its cerebral capacity.
And anything beyond that unlocks superhuman abilities. This movie commits so hard to the dumbest premise I've ever seen in an action movie, and it pleads with you to believe it. This movie has no jokes. It's one of those rare post-2010s pieces of media that takes itself extremely seriously, while priding itself on absolute cartoon logic. And here's 45 seconds of stock footage of things people have done with their brains, including rocket ships, washing machines, and many prisoners.
The only living being that uses its brain better than us, the dolphin.
I'm sorry to say, Lucy does not become a dolphin in this movie. Back to Lucy. She's been brought to a different room, and it's nighttime now, and a British guy
Lovely, lovely. No. Mwah, mwah.
shows up to tell Lucy, 3 other people, and the audience as a whole, that each of those 4 have had a bag of that powder sewed into their tummies, and that they'll be used as human mules to bring those drugs to Europe. Okay, so between surgeons, airfare, and a goddamn late-night host for exposition,
Good.
This is a big operation for what, 10, 12 pounds of drugs? I mean, how much is that going to go for? Like 10 grand? They raising money for a used Sonata? Oh, back to Morgan Freeman, who tells us that cells either become immortal or reproduce. And then the movie shows us a montage of animals having sex and giving birth graphically. I'm dead serious. This movie shows us pig baby coming out of pig vagina on the big screen for real. Okay, back to Lucy. Prison thug kicks her in the stomach. The drugs start leaking out of the bag. Brain blast. So if you haven't figured it out yet, this drug is going to slowly increase her brain activity throughout the movie. It's going to make her smarter. So what do you think she does as she starts to use more of her brain? Figures out a clever way to escape? No. She's so smart that gravity goes upside down and she wriggles against a panel light. Oh wait, she's getting even smarter. This movie's so fucking funny. 20%. You use more of your brain, you too can float and run into a wall.
Let's imagine for a few moments what our life would be like if we could access 20% of our brain's capacity.
Oh, can you imagine? Shut up, Morgan. This is like if in The Flash there was a scientist that was like, no, you can actually run that fast if you eat enough Wheaties and jog every morning. You can. Anyone can.
100 billion neurons per human, of which only 15% are activated.
That's not true. Then he says when you reach 40%, you can control other people. Right. Oh, now here comes the big question.
But what would happen if somebody unlocked 100% of the cerebral capacity?
I have no idea.
Back to Lucy. She's a genius now. So she fights off some guys and escapes, and she gets a gun, and then...
Hey!
Oh! She massacres 5 civilians for no reason. Is that what geniuses do? Then she eats their food, which isn't smart because of germs. Then she leaves. She wants a taxi. She sees 2 taxi drivers.
Hey, speak English? No. Ah! You speak English?
Yes.
Stop killing people! What? Right after she does that, she immediately demonstrates to us that she understands other languages now. Why did she shoot that guy for not speaking English? She gets to the hospital, reads some signs, and she kills the person they're doing surgery on. Is this the burden of being a genius? Would Stephen Hawking have been a serial killer was it not for his immobility? Then she calls her mom.
Hey.
Okay, time for some backstory, character development.
I remember the taste of your milk in my mouth.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson just walked through Taiwan killing civilians and broke into a hospital so she could call her mom and tell her she remembers how her breast milk tastes and I'm the only one talking about it? Alright, so she gets the bag taken out, but that doesn't mean she's still not filled with blue shit. She is still getting smarter. This is followed by a scene where she goes back for our bad guy and... Alright, you know what? That's pretty cool. She stabs the bad guy in his hands.
Now that I have access to the furthest reaches of my brain, I see things clearly and realize that what makes us us.
It's at this point when you realize, wait a second, is Lucy gonna speak like a robot this whole movie? Is that what it's like to be smart? Stephen Hawking? Luc Besson is the director that gave us... Everyone! So wouldn't it have been cool to have her act charismatic when she needs to, deceptive when she needs to, etc.? No, just deadpan. I hope I never use my brain. She reads his mind and discovered his brain is made of weirdly lit CGI, which must be why he's so pissed all the time. Now she knows where the other drug packages are going, and she's gotta go get them. From here, she goes back to her apartment. She's a study abroad student, by the way. The movie doesn't care, and you shouldn't either. And, oh, come on. This is how intelligent people use computers. We meet a roommate, character number 4, who you think might matter to the story and then we never see again. That's that. And now it's time for Lucy to mentally gain access to Morgan Freeman's TV and talk to him. She's like, I heard you're an expert on this bullshit and I need help.
There are no more obstacles. They fall away like dominoes. I'm colonizing my own brain.
I don't know what to say.
Both these two are underacting and neither of them know the other is, so it's like an awkward blind date.
I'll be at your door in 12 hours.
Oh, things are moving fast. Lucy goes to the airport and then evades detection by changing her hair in full view of the public because she's really smart. And then she calls some cop in Paris and tells him that people with drugs in their tummies are coming to Europe and he's got to get them. 30%. Then a 3-minute montage of those drug tummies getting arrested. It's a waste of time. Lucy's on a plane now, and she's now using 2 computers, and they're even faster! Us 10% brains can only dream of 2 blue flickering screens. Where did she even get another one? She skips right to 40%, and this means that she is now so smart that she does a dance surrounded by fairy dust and her face starts falling off. So what does a smart person do in this scenario? Get even smarter. She eats more blue drug like a French bulldog, turns into sprinkles, and then explodes. This movie hired Morgan Freeman to tell you that if you use 40% of your brain, otherwise known as a resting amount of brain activity, you'll fucking blow up. Anyway, here's a few cop lines in French.
Elle avait une cicatrice sur le bas-ventre.
50%. She's back in the hospital. I guess some surgeons put her together one atom at a time. The cops point guns at her. She maybe kills them. Who's to say?
Did you get the packets?
Yes.
He got the packets. They then engage in a car chase because there's now a new, younger head goon who works for the bad guy, and they're getting the drugs back from the other tummy people, and he looks like Shohei Ohtani with a Sakurai wig. Also, one of the other drug tummies is Mr. Turkentine from Willy Wonka. Meanwhile, Lucy literally does the watchdogs trick with her mind, gets to the hospital, and then 60%. This means she's so smart that she can put Ohtani in a mine box and then make everyone fly, except this guy. She gets the suitcase back as he spasms, and then... Alright, that has to be the most pathetic kiss between 2 leads in the history of cinema. I mean, one is literally emotionless, the other is simply confused about everything, and they don't know each other. Why do they kiss?
Like
Lucy
us.
makes it to Morgan's place.
Captain Del Rio.
How do you do?
That's his name. He introduces her to some other
can you give us
scientists,
an
and then
example?
she
Your daughter, Gabrielle, age 6, died in a car accident.
does that for no reason. Someone who's truly a genius would know that's uncool to do, Lucy. A couple dozen bad guys have arrived, and this is a good time to remind everyone this is all over like 12 pounds of drugs, an amount that gets smuggled across borders successfully and unsuccessfully every 5 minutes. Lucy gets a fish hand, makes a pen float, tells Morgan Freeman she wants to share everything she knows with the world, and then we get this piece of cinema. I love this movie. 70%. This means she's so smart. She becomes Venom. Everyone's shooting each other in the hallway. She eats a computer. 80%. Time for everyone to enter a Verizon commercial. She's making a supercomputer, apparently. These two share a little moment. 90%. Ohtani shoots a rocket launcher at the Verizon commercial. The cop does this silly jump. Then Lucy speeds out of there in her chair and sits in front of the Eiffel Tower. Now, you might say, why did she and her rolly chair go to the Eiffel Tower? Easy. So she could then look at a cliff, then Times Square, then go back in time to look at some Native Americans, then a dinosaur almost eats her, then she sits in front of a monkey. I don't know how else to deliver this information to you guys. This is what she does. She can do all this because she's using her whole medulla oblongata. She's still in her chair. If it wasn't clear, this is Lucy the monkey. Get it? Get it? She touches monkey finger like God and blasts off into space. Guys, she touches monkey finger and flies into space! 99%. Now, bad guy who never wipes off his face is in the Verizon commercial and he's walking up to Lucy. She's turning into leather. She's watching the Big Bang happen. His gun is pointed at her. 2 cells touch. Eyeball! Alright. Now the thing about this movie is, it doesn't matter if you love it or you hate it. When 100% appears on the screen and everything goes silent, it's the most exciting thing in the world. You're in it. We're all in it. What's about to happen? Maybe she has a seizure, like is what should happen. What happens? She's gone. Cop guy shoots bad guy. We pretend the day is saved and there aren't still a bunch of goons with guns outside the door, and wait, Lucy isn't gone. She's just a spiky computer, and she's giving them a thumb drive with all the world's information on it. A thumb drive from Staples. Not even 2 thumb drives. 1. 128 gigabytes of all the information humankind could ever dream of, and it's capable of being dropped down a sewer. So what happened to Lucy? She's God. That's it.
Life was given to us a billion years ago. Now you know what to do with it.
I'm not doing any of that. So that's my pitch for Lucy being the funniest fucking movie ever. A movie that prides itself on the scientific potential of a complete myth and has the confidence to spend 5 minutes on explaining that myth's truth and 3 more minutes on stock footage of traffic and animals fucking. Did I mention this movie's under 90 minutes long? They could have, if they wanted, given Lucy some character, given Mr. Cop some character, something, but they don't. Something I've wondered is if this movie could have been good if the drugs were just some mystical superhuman stuff that's never explained, like The Rock and Chronicle, and if they just cut the Morgan Freeman stuff and used the rest of that time to make Lucy likable and give her some friends and people to work off of. Is that a good movie? It's probably decent, but it isn't memorable. It isn't this perfect. What is memorable is creating the wackiest set pieces ever put on screen and sitting me down and putting a hand on my shoulder and telling me this is what will happen if I use more than 10% of my brain. I think that's something very special.